and welcome to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. This is the station that revolves around the African community here in Houston and of course the surrounding cities, by extension the United States. My name is Kola and welcome to the show. Today we will be talking to two prominent candidates for this year's election. First is a Nigerian American, Mr. Derrick Obialo. He is running, of course, for the district judge, 400th Court, Fort Bend County. He will need your vote. He is running under the Democratic Party for this office. He is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He has done it in the time past. He is going to be doing it again, but this time more refined and with a representation at the bench. So he will need your vote, and please come out to vote for him. And the second candidate is going to be Mr. Albert Tibbs. Mr. Tibbs is a community developer by nature, I would say. He is a realtor. He has his own real estate firm and whatever that you can relate to developing a city. He has voluntarily started a campaign that they actually want to tar the FM 521. If you live around the Fort Bend County in Rosharon, Akola region, you would understand what I'm saying. And it's also, done so much to bring about 500 street lights to that axis also. He has done this over time and he's willing to do it again. So stay tuned and let's hear from them directly. We will be right back. Welcome to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. As you know, this is the station that brings about the occurrences, the events, and everything you can even think about that's happening in Houston. And we are your #1 station for Africans and the Caribbeans and even the minorities here in Houston. Today we will be talking to one of our prominent Houstonians, I would say. He is originally from Nigeria, from Imo State, but he is, running for the district judge here in Houston, Texas, Fort Bend County. He needs our support, and we are definitely going all out for him. We have done the same for the likes of Steve Okoroha and Elegbede. But today, it's about our man, Mr. Derrick Obialo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Mr. Obialo, you have such an impressive resume. For a Nigerian, well, it's typical for us to be educated, right? But however, you went over and above, and you have done this over time. I learned you're running for the position of the office of the judge of the 400th District Court in Fort Bend County, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So, but we have an incumbent, the Honorable Judge Maggie Jaramillo.
That is correct as well.
Who happens to be a Republican.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you're running as
a Democrat.
As a Democrat. Well, first off, before we dive deep, shall we get a little bit about, let's get acquainted with what the district court is about.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Kola, for this opportunity to tell the viewers and the community and the voters about my candidacy. The district court is, this particular district court, the 400 District Court, is a general jurisdiction court, meaning it handles on civil and criminal cases. Unlimited jurisdiction. It can do any amount of civil case and it can also take in from misdemeanor all the way to death penalty capital offense cases.
Wow. In that courtroom?
In that court, yes. So I think Fort Bend County has about 8 district courts. 400 district court is one of them.
In Fort Bend County.
Yes.
So just so we are familiar with these jurisdictions in Houston. Houston is so big, and we call it the Houston metro area, right?
Right.
So we have the Harris County, we have the Fort Bend County, but you're running for the Fort Bend County.
Yes.
Right.
So you're correct. Houston is a large metropolis.
It is.
And in fact, the city of Houston is primarily in Harris County. There are some portions of the Houston city that's in Fort Bend County. Fort Bend County comprises of most of the suburbs in southwest of Houston. The cities of Sugar Land, Missouri City, Richmond, Rosenberg, Fresno, some parts of Katy, Fulshire, and some other smaller cities like Arcola and all that.
Arcola, Rosharon area.
Right.
Part of Fort Bend.
They're all part of Fort Bend. Fort Bend actually is very large.
Interesting. I would never have thought, So as an attorney, you are an attorney now.
Yes.
So I learned you have sat in over 80 benches and jury trials in Harris County, in Fort Bend, and of course in surrounding cities. You featured in the CCTV America, the hit show, and you are a self-taught visual artist.
Right.
So how were you able to juggle all of that? Let's get into flexibility now.
Yes.
I just have to go into that detail a little far,
Okay.
so they know you are human first, before all of the cases come before you. You know what I'm saying?
That is correct. So maybe I should go straight to my background first.
That would be interesting, yeah.
As you said, I was born in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I did my early education in Nigeria. I went to primary school, secondary school, and I went to university as well in Nigeria. I graduated with a Bachelor of Laws degree in 1990. That probably dates me.
Obviously.
And then I proceeded to Nigeria Law School. Back then, it was just one law school in the entire country.
Wow.
And that was in Victoria Island, Lagos.
The one in Ozumba, yeah.
Right. And I graduated there with a barrister at law license in 1991. Went back to Imo State and started practicing law. I practiced until 93, end of 93, and that's when I started migrating to the United States. So I've been living in Houston since 1994. When I got here, I did so many other things, including later on I started working for Enron, the corporation that went back.
Yeah.
I'm probably one of those guys that were on TV with their boxes.
Right.
That was November of 2001. Right after that, I got employed with a construction consulting company out of New Jersey. They were setting shop in Houston, and I was employed as a senior analyst. And then I later became a consultant there. I worked for that company. It's a Nielsen Worcester Group. It's now part of Marsh Corporation.
Oh, Marsh, okay,
Yeah. So what they did was kind of like an expert witness for construction consulting cases. And they provided expert witness in litigation and also as a consultant for construction claims. So while going through that, I also went to do my MBA at Houston Baptist University.
HBU.
Yeah. So I just wanted to improve my career path in corporate America. Along the way, there was just this deep yearning in me to go back and do law practice.
Wow.
So I quit my job and went to University of Miami to enroll in the JD program. So I did the JD program in Miami, and in 2007 I came back to Houston and set up my practice. So I practice mainly construction litigation, and that's because of the background that I have.
That you have, obviously. Obviously. So you do commercial litigation as well? I do
commercial, business dispute, construction litigation, and that's primarily what I do. 80% of my docket is probably that. Yes, I've been all over the place in Harris County, Fort Bend County, Brazoria County, Chambers County, Montgomery County. I've gone all around.
All around.
Cases.
So the beauty of this is now you have your own law firm.
Yes.
And the beauty of this is you are very, very well equipped for the job, I would say.
Yes.
You understand what it is to be, to be on the other side.
Yes.
Because you've done trials as well. And you've done some jury duties, you've sat in benches and all of those things. So I would say very much so that you're conversant with the environment and the district you're running for. You understand everything and out. And so, but what prompted you to want to go into, because we need more people, when I say more people, more Africans. We are very well represented here in the Houston area, right? But then we don't have someone at the table to speak for us, to educate for us, to speak on our behalf, to understand where we're coming from when it comes to, law and the way Africans react to things. Not that, not saying that to show favoritism, however, but, there are some concepts that, coming from that background that you would understand. What prompted you, Mr. Derrick, to run for this office?
Yeah, you are absolutely right with regards to the need for diversity in the bench. It's not lost to me that if we are successful, this is going to be a historical election and probably the first not just Nigerian American, but African American. African that's in this bench.
Wow.
In Fort Bend County and probably Fort Bend, Harris, and surrounding counties. I think there's probably some, maybe a few Nigerians that have been judges in somewhere in Dallas and some other parts of the United States. Right. But not in our community. In Harris and Fort
So it is time, man.
Given our numbers, I think it's time that we
have someone at the bench.
Have someone at the bench trying to, just like you say, to represent the diversity here. There's a lot of things that we bring to the table. In entrepreneurial spirit that we bring. We help the community. We are contributing. We are all everywhere.
We pay huge taxes.
Yes,
huge taxes.
And not just the taxes, the efforts and the contribution that we make individually throughout the community. I don't think there's anywhere in Fort Bend or Harris that you don't see any one Nigerian or African contributing successfully to the society.
I agree with you.
Now, with regards to my background, yes, I'm very conversant with what goes on in the courtroom, being a trial lawyer and I think I've been successful at that. I don't want to toot my own horn, but that's,
we know.
Running for judge is not a decision that you make lightly.
Overnight,
and also, it's not one that you make and aspire to without having the right background and pedigree to do that. I believe that I have the right qualifications. I've studied, not just studied, I've done a lot of practice. Jury trial, especially bench trial, has been the majority of all my trials in this community. So I know exactly what goes on in the country. I'm just as competent as anybody else. And part of what I think that I need to do is, after being here and seeing our community and I think that it's time, not just the representation that you talk about. I want also, given our spirit, to give back to this community that has given me
so much. So in that light, what are you going to be doing differently? Given the Fort Bend County and its environs, there are lots of things happening,
yes,
which we know, but it's been in existence for however long. But what is Mr. Derrick, as a judge, going to be doing differently?
Yeah. So let me start by saying, most times judges, we don't make the law.
You do not. People don't understand that, though.
Yeah, we have a lot of discretion with applying the law and making decision as to what facts, what laws apply to which facts. But we strictly follow the law. The changes that I want to bring into the administration of justice in Fort Bend County is where I think the law should apply to everybody equally. And most importantly, I don't think that the law should apply harshly to certain communities. So applying the law equally without over emphasizing or criminalizing a particular community more so than others. Secondly, I like to have the justice administration work efficiently. Being in the courtroom, one of the things that I have noticed, and I think most lawyers who try cases will pick up instances where things could have been done better and cases could have been moved along faster than it was. There are certain things that I need to do that I think I can bring to justice administration in order to make this particular court work more efficiently. I think that's actually a very good thing to society because it helps with the confidence that people have. Because it all comes down to your experience.
Right.
Once you get positive experience when you go to court for whatever reason, you tend to put more hope in the justice administration. So I think those two things are part of what I plan on doing. And
those are key things, actually. You don't want anyone leaving the courthouse feeling cheated.
Right.
Feeling like the judge is biased or whatever. You're Absolutely. Trying to distribute everything equally and according to the law, of course. You're not showing favoritism to any race or, ethnicity and whatnot. So, how can one be a part of your campaign?
So our campaign, we are trying to be everywhere, and we got our signs. We have all kinds of events going on. We invite people to come to our campaign. You can go to our website, www.DerrickObialoforJudge.com. Register, donate. We have events, we post them on our website, and we have our Facebook handle, which is Derrick Obialo for Judge 400 District Court. So those are ways that we get people involved. We also we're reaching out to the young people, because I think the success of this campaign definitely is going to depend on the young folks.
I agree with you, but we need to also ask our people, when I say our people, to come out to vote. It's one thing to be eligible to vote, it's one thing to be registered to vote, it's another to take the time. It is a civic duty, to take the time to get out there, to actually cast your vote to the right candidate or for the right candidate. And that's one advice I would strongly give to our viewers, that you need to be out there to vote, especially if you're eligible to vote. You have to be a citizen, get your registered to vote, get your voter's card, and get out there to vote. Could you let them know when the early voting is going to start?
Yes. So early voting starts actually about 2 weeks from now, February 18, and it runs to the 28th of this month, February 2020. And the election day is March the 3rd, 2020. Now, this is a primary election to elect the candidate for the party. The general election for this position is still in November. That's when the Republican candidate will run off against the Democratic candidate. Right now, we're trying to choose a candidate for the Democratic Party. I make that pronouncement because it's very important that people
understand what it is.
For in our community, if you want to support me and you're a Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Texas is an open primary state where you can actually, whatever your affiliation is, whatever you
for
like,
who you
if
feel.
You want to vote for me, you can go vote in the Democratic primary and vote for me. That's allowed. That's legal. The other thing that I want to emphasize is that why campaigns are successful is because of the energy. If you don't energize your base, then you fail. I need to energize my base. And that's why I'm out doing this, going to all kinds of events, trying to energize my base to speak to people who haven't heard me speak. They need to come out because the margin of victory in primaries is very low because there's usually a low turnout in primaries.
Yeah, because it's a primary anyway.
Right,
yeah.
Right. People wait for the general election
before they cast their vote. Unfortunately, their candidate may not even make.
Right.
You know,
already been a streamlined
right.
for them.
So you heard it all. It's time to get out there. At least your candidate, you already know who he is. Derek Obialo is right here, and he's the one we're choosing for you. I can't choose for you, obviously, but I'm just saying. But we've thrown our support behind him. It's gonna be historical. It is going to be historical.
It is.
Because it's not just going to be the only or the first African or Nigerian, but the first African, to actually sit on that bench. And it's time we have someone representing our interest, your interest as well, at the bench. So be out there to vote. Early voting, starts on February the 18th and runs through February the 20th. 28.
Yes.
And then to support this campaign, with your time, your money, we need campaign contributions, guys. You can visit Derek Obialo for Judge. The 4 is FOR or the number 4?
Derek Obialo for FORJudge.com. I will also put a few words in there about volunteering, which you just mentioned.
Exactly.
Because we need people to come out and help us block work, tell everybody else in the community. I can't do this just with the African vote alone.
I know. Definitely.
I can't win without
everybody.
Everybody
yeah.
And I cannot win with just without my base.
So we need everybody.
We need
all hands on deck.
We need all hands. And please come out, go to my website. You can register to volunteer for my campaign, especially when during early voting, we have volunteers that we need to go out to the polls, hand out our flyers, and help welcome people while they...
And share stuff on their social media handle too.
Yes.
that helps a lot.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, the visual people, they just don't go out on the street. They just want to be behind their computers or behind their phone to do stuff. So while they're flipping through, you can definitely see where we are with Derek Obialo for Judge.com. That's the website, and early voting starts soon. Please, please, please get out and vote. Again, this is the primaries where your party selects who will run against the other party. So in this case, the Democratic Party is the party where Mr. Obialo is running under.
Right.
And you need to come out to vote. Again, it is an open state, which is Houston, Texas. You can be a liberal, you can be a Republican, you can be a Democrat, you can still vote for Derek. So please, we're urging you to come out and vote. Please stay tuned. We will be right back.
is Derek Obialo, and I'm a candidate for Judge of the 400 District Court in Fort Bend County, Texas, in the upcoming Democratic Party primaries on March 3rd, 2020, Super Tuesday. Early voting starts February 18th to the 28th, 2020. I've been a practicing attorney in Texas since 2007, and before that, I also practiced overseas in Nigeria. This will be a historic election for our community, and it will demonstrate once more the diversity and beauty of this county, and the integrity, hard work, and professionalism that is associated with our community. If this message resonates with you, please share it with your friends, your neighbors, your families, and your co-workers, and help them get to the poll. Thank you, and God bless.
Welcome back to my community on Afrocentric Television, channel 15.8. Of course, this is the station that brings about the occurrences that's happening here in Houston, our home city. But today, you know, as earlier stated, we are all about the election. It's that time of the year that we need to come out to support the candidacy, especially the ones we want, our choice. And today we will be talking to none other than Mr. Albert Tibbs. Welcome to my show.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you know, this is very, very interesting. Can you give us briefly your background, a little about your background?
Well, I've served as a city administrator in the Fort Bend County. I've also served as a CEO of a nonprofit corporation entitled Near My Initiative Coalition, which I founded and launched specifically for the transformation of Fort Bend County, the East District, East Fort Bend County. I've served as a pastor for 45 years, internationally, planting churches, working with nonprofits as well as corporations. I also own my own real estate firm, to which I have an investment portfolio network as well as an investment real estate entity. And so I've been in the community of Fort Bend 22 years. Through Near My Initiative, we launched a campaign called Punching Holes in Darkness. We found that in our community that our neighbors were lacking fresh water in the 20th century. And so we led a campaign to bring water to the district, fresh water in hydrants to Fresno and Arcola, to bring in the economic boom to that area, which is enjoying right now. We then launched a campaign to bring over 500 streetlights to Fresno and Arcola. Our families were driving from Houston into the darkness, and so we literally punched the holes in darkness.
You sure did.
Brought over 500 streetlights to that community so that parents and children coming home from school could come home safely.
They feel more secured.
Absolutely.
Right. I must confess, I enjoyed that because I worked in the Obialo Sharon area a while. Yeah. So I worked there. Then, you know, I actually did enjoy those benefits. Thank you for making provisions for those for us.
Then the last thing we did was we advocated for changes by bringing the Fortune 500 companies in to cover the cost of those things. Brought in the faith-based community and businesses to cooperate in its development. And the last vital thing we did, we went to Congress, legislature in Texas, to advocate for widening Tremor Fresno Road and for 521. And we won that victory. And now you see the evidence of that happening now.
Of course, apply that route.
Absolutely. And so that's because of the efforts. This was while I was pastoring just as an active citizen in the community. And so now we come to stand in the light of the need of the community now.
You know, you've just empowered me. You may not understand what you just did, but I felt like, you know, if we as African Americans or from African descent or even resident of Houston metro area, not just Fort Bend or Harris, you know, or Brazoria or whatever, but if we can come out to be like you, I think we will have a better community. We will be at top of everything. Everywhere will be fully developed. Talking about streetlights, you know, punching holes in the darkness. I love that. Talking about good roads, good road networks, right? And FM 521, I had an office there a while back doing auto. I was into auto business at the time, and you know, I definitely did enjoy that thing y'all did for us back then in the Sharon area. And I have lots of friends and family living in that, you know, in that axis. So yeah, makes me feel like now I can, now I know the source, who actually initiated that thing to come to pass. Thank you. I just want to express that, an act of gratitude to you. Say thank you for all you have done so far. And that brings me to my question, which is, since you're not new to this, it's not something new. So I would say, what you're running. First of all, we didn't talk about the office you're running for. Let's talk about that briefly and tell us, before I ask my question, let's talk about what's that commissioner for Precinct 1 in Fort Bend County. That's what it is, right?
Yes.
So give us what that office stands for. What do they do?
The commissioner of the county is the chief administrator of the county. It administrates its welfare, the roads, the health system, the judicial system, the law enforcement. It administrates everything that touches your life in Fort Bend County. That's why in our campaign is no community left behind. We believe that every family deserves representation and that no community, how large or small, should be left behind. And we're doing this not because of anyone's prompting, but I'm in this race because of the fierce urgency of a sovereign compelling that our neighbors are in need. And as I served them before, I stand in the light of that darkness to challenge a change, bringing experience and strength to help that change. With fearlessness and boldness, fearlessness to fight for justice of every neighbor, boldness to stand alongside every citizen to make sure their community has what it needs.
So I'm looking at your flyer. There are 3 things that you highlighted here. 3 core things, but there are bullet points underneath. I want us to talk about that. My question now, you have answered it, so there's no point in asking that particular question anymore. However, you said here that you have what we call the economic development or empowerment. Can you touch briefly on that one? I know you have 3 of them: economic empowerment, community and support, and accountability and transparency. But let's take them one after the other. Just briefly touch on those points. Economic empowerment, what does that entail?
Well, the economic empowerment entails a entrepreneur incubator accelerator program. And what that is bring the citizen who has vision and plans for the county to be trained how to run a business, trained how to launch a vision, trained how to organize an office, trained how to be effective in getting investors to donate to them. This provided through network of a partnership between businesses and the county, because all the economics of the county belongs to its people. If the county is wealthy, the people should be wealthy. This is not a poverty lift, this is an inclusion.
So be careful what you're saying, because a lot of people, after hearing this, they may just want to move to Fort Bend County. They may just want to move to wherever this precinct you are going to be in. And this is interesting. The reason is everybody wants to be empowered. Everybody wants to be successful. Well, maybe most people want to be successful at what they do. And if the community is bringing this to them,
yes,
because it's their community, then it's about time to take advantage of that.
It is, but the accelerator program, Cola, is important because the accelerator program provides for every citizen investor infusion. That means that investors see these trained, visionary people with great ideas, great minds. Then we bring the investors, we bring the offices, we bring staff to make that all work, because when you increase, the county increases. When the citizen increases, the county is healthy and wealthy. So
the investors can actually provide, if they find them competent enough, provide seed funding.
Absolutely. The reason for this is important.
I'm buying the property over there, just so you know.
Well, you're welcome. Here's the key. Look, there's 0.474 people are in balance in economic inequality in Fort Bend County, one of the wealthiest counties in our country. But it ranks number 1 in the top for economic inequality. Isn't that amazing?
Interesting.
Right? We need to change that. And so this system brings companies to bear, brings citizens to bear to cooperate, as we did before, that the county is more wealthy and so is people.
Awesome. So now let's talk about the community and support.
The community support program happens with just that. I believe that government should be no-nonsense governance. And that is where children are in crisis, we step in and assist them. Many people don't know in the state of Texas, and especially in Fort Bend County, a child at 10 years old can be arrested for small infractions.
Can be arrested?
Yes, sir.
10 years old?
10 years old. Incarcerated. Kept from parents for 10 days. When the parents see the child, wrist, ankles, feet are shackled. This process goes on for over 30 days. I advocate that Fort Bend County should have an alternative system, one that works throughout the country, and even in Texas and smaller counties, our kids, our county, which provides an alternative before a child goes before court or goes to issues. There's an alternative housing program to assess the family, to help the parents bond.
I still don't get that. From 10 years old, that leaves a dent in the life of that child and the parent. Seeing your child after 10 days in shackles.
It does.
At 10 years old.
Yes, sir. And here's the kicker, Cole. Okay. In Texas, Fort Bend County, it is preferable that they stay in the system 40 years. We know this is unjust. We know this is unfair.
So what the people before you coming to the table now, what have they done about that?
Well, I want to hold them accountable to that. I will ask those tough questions. I will challenge those issues. Because our children are more valuable than someone else's riches. We didn't birth them to be a product of a prison system. We have our senior citizens who are lacking care. Their land are being taken, their homes are being taken in small cities and suburbs around our area. And so we don't advocate a change of that. Our citizens who are a part of our community, who are elderly, need support. Our health system right now in Fort Bend County has gone up 5%. 12% are uninsured. A lot of those are elderly and poor persons.
How do they expect them? Anyway, please get in so we can fix all this.
Vote Tibbs and I'll get in.
We will do that. So, and the third one is the accountability and transparency. That is self-explanatory, but I still want you to talk about it.
Fort Bend County is a beautiful city. However, in one sector of our area, Siena, the Vicksburg, those sections of our community, when they access the toll road, there's no feeder access.
That is true. We have no choice but to pay.
Correct. There has to be an option.
Make it a choice.
Into the city. We've got land available. The developers are building homes and businesses. Give our citizens a choice, as you have on the west side of Fort Bend County, as you have on north, east, and west of Houston, but not this sector. You have people who have no choice but to pay that toll, cannot have an option of ingress or egress into their community. I say to you that that is not good governance. It's not common.
That doesn't even encourage community development.
It does not.
If I want to buy a property, which I'm still going to buy just because of what you're doing, you know, I'll have to go 288, then come down Highway 6.
Correct.
Or come, you know, the 529 come down this way. Even if I'm coming back to Siena Plantation or something around that axis, or if I want to be faster, then I'll have to pay the toll.
That is true. Accountability and transparency entails simple air control monitors and alarm systems. We had a great spill last year in the Texas Parkway tollway area. A lot of people were affected, allergies, sinuses issues developed because of that. No alarm, no warning. Our citizens are better than that. They need to be warned when there's a spill. They need to be notified of what must be done. And there must be prevention put in place before things like this happen.
Mr. Tibbs,
yes.
To be a part of your campaign, what should one do to be a part of it?
Just go to www.votetibs.com and commit to volunteering, donate there, and even call there. You can call me directly at 713-927-893, and you can identify who you are. We'll be prepared to help you and assist you even now in what you're doing.
Fantastic. So the website again is Vote Tibbs.
You can just make it short, Vote Tibbs, and you'll go straight to our link.
So VOTETIBBS.
They called me Mr. Tibbs.
Mr. Tibbs.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not, you know, I'm just so impressed with everything you have done so far. And with what you said you're bringing to the table, it's an add-on. It's not, you're not strange to this. This is something you're doing, you've been doing it, and you still want to continue to do it now, being in office. Is this, early voting starts February the 18th. Through the 28th, right? But is this going to be the main election or just the primaries?
This is the primary. I'm running from 3 others in this race. That's why we need you to register early to vote and vote early. Today is the last day to register to vote in the primary and the general election. And so it's important that every citizen register to vote.
Because it is their civic duty.
Yes,
it is their right.
You're right. It is their right, and people have died for that right. It is a just right. It is a fair right. If your children, your community, your neighbor is important, if your life is important, the time is now. Fort Bend now. Vote now. Vote Tibbs, Commissioner, Precinct 1.
Mr. Tibbs, thank you for gracing our studio with this. I am feel more empowered than I felt coming in today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for what you're yet to do, because I'm convinced in my heart that if Fort Bend does not vote you in, it's their loss.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for gracing us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, viewers, you've heard it. Mr. Tibbs is right here. You know, he needs your vote. He needs your volunteer. He needs you to volunteer. He needs your funds. He needs everything to keep these alive. Also, this is just going to be the primaries, so we need you to get out. You can hear everything, but if you don't come out to vote for him, it's still going to be the same way. You know, ignorance can actually kill this election. If you say, no worry, I'll vote for him in November. No, you can't wait till November. You have to do that now. If he is your choice, you need to cast your vote now. Early voting starts February the 18th up until the 28th. You know, then cast your vote, make him the primary, you know, for the party. I believe you're running under the Democratic Party.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, it's that time. Also, Houston is a diverse city. It is that time for you to come out and show your power. Don't just talk about it. Don't sit behind the computer and do stuff. Come out to vote. It is your civic duty. It's your right. You know what? Go to votetibbs.com to learn more. Until next time, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I am Albert Tibbs, and I'm running for Commissioner, Precinct 1 of Fort Bend County. I agree with George Washington Carver when he says there's nothing greater than service. It's not the money that matters nor the car you drive, but it's simply service that measures success. I'm a resident of Fort Bend County for 22 years, and I've been for the community, by the community, and of the community, establishing advancements for the community. One advancement has been that we brought 559 lights to Fresno and Arcola through the initiative called Punching Holes in Darkness, bringing community together and 500 Fortune companies. We've advocated and successfully brought fresh water as water plants to Fresno and as well as the Arcola district. We've advocated at Congress, the Texas Congress, to widen from Fresno and 521. That's happening now. But I'm here because I'm compelled by a cause greater than myself. If we need a change. What kind of change, you ask? That is a change of servant leadership in Fort Bend County. But we cannot lead without being servant. I've lived with my wife, Marilyn Tibbs, of marriage of 36 years, 5 children, in Fort Bend County for 22 years. I'm vested. I am for you. I'm with you. I'm by you. At the games, the football games, basketball games, track meets, in the communities, in the courts, out of courts, protecting families all along the way. We've served this community by bringing 559 lights to Fresno and Arcola by a campaign we call Punching Holes in Darkness. And I come before you today as a servant, advocating that we should, as a collective power of we, serve our community. Let us serve the community by empowering it economically. We'd rather have change for our children, not change. We rather have justice for our juveniles, not jail. And that means we must reform the juvenile system and the criminal court system. I want to invite you to serve with us in the campaign for accountability. I'm come to be a servant that no community can be left behind, and no community shall be left behind. Join me. I want to be your choice as Commissioner for Precinct 1. Vote Tibbs, Commissioner for Precinct 1.
Welcome back to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. My name is Kola, and I'm hoping you've enjoyed this segment so far. I am empowered much more than before. You know, when Mr. Tibbs came in, he spoke very well about and very detailed about his commitment to his county and to the community around him and what he had done in the past. Also, Mr. Obialo is awesome. He's just, phenomenal. What he's bringing to the table is going to be historical. You need to come out to vote. Both of them need your support. First, for Derek Obialo, you need to support him for his campaign and everything. For informational purposes, you need to go to www.derekobialoforjudge.com. And for Mr. Tibbs, Albert Tibbs, his website is votetibbs.com. Both of them need your support. They need you to volunteer, they need your finance, they need everything you can do to support them. Don't forget, this is still the primaries. So if you think you want to vote for them back and, dated towards November, it is time for you to make sure they make the primaries. And this is totally up to you, our voters. We hope, you come out en masse to support their candidacy. They are phenomenal guys. I have met them in person, one-on-one, spoken to them. They are just awesome. Anyway, we at Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8, we are delighted to have them. And also, we believe to get your support, we need you to subscribe to our TV station on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8, and on our YouTube, we need you to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Afrocentric Television. On Instagram, follow us. On Facebook as well, please do not hesitate to follow us. We will be more than happy to welcome your support and your opinion, if any. Please let us know what we can do better by the day. Until next time, I remain your host on my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8, Kola Akinmuyiwa, signing out.